X factor. Jurgen Klopp is bringing the feel-good factor back to Liverpool after massive victory at Chelsea. Klopp has finally laid down his marker in the Premier League by taking advantage of a fragile Chelsea, and Mark Lawrenson was more than impressed. There was a real statement made by Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. And it was up there on the scoreboard for all to see, and for all watching at home to take in, writes Mark Lawrenson in his Liverpool Echo column. Okay, we aren't the first team to beat Chelsea 3-1 this season. We aren't even the first team to beat them 3-1 on their own patch this season. But it's always different when we take on Chelsea. And this was a massive victory. Coming off the back of Jurgen Klopp's first win as manager against Bournemouth last Wednesday, it's clear the feel-good factor has returned to Anfield. After 40 minutes, though, you were fearing the worst. We had plenty of possession, but we were playing in front of Chelsea without really threatening in the final third. But it is amazing how a moment of genuine quality can change a game. And what a goal from Felipe Coutinho to provide it. I'd spoken last week about how the Brazilian needed to get his act together. Nobody has ever doubted his ability, it's just a matter of needing to show it more often. One thing you may not have noticed is immediately after Coutinho's first goal went in, the Chelsea players regrouped at the centre circle, and even then you could tell they had gone. Mentally they are fragile. And thankfully we made the most of it, starting much better in the second half than the first. As he suggested after the match, Klopp had clearly had a word with his players at half-time. They have a bit of analysis they run through during the break, so I imagine the analysis man deserves a pat on the back. The pressing game worked really well for us at Stamford Bridge. You could see the players have really bought into it, because the rewards are immediate. We kept pinching the ball off Chelsea's players, and that's the aim. Of course, the system needs a bit of refining. We've already seen at home that when opposing teams sit back and defend, the pressing game isn't always that, well, pressing. It requires different answers. A word, too, for the travelling supporters at Chelsea. They were great. Even at 1-0 down, they were loud, and if it wasn't for them the place would have been a library. The fans have really bought into Klopp. But then, a lot of them had bought into him months ago. Benteke's impact made a genuine difference. Jurgen Klopp says he is still learning about his Liverpool players. But one thing he'll have picked up at Stamford Bridge is clear the difference having a genuine striker on the field can make. Roberto Firmino started up front, and while he was often involved, he didn't really get in where he could hurt Chelsea. Everything changed, though, the minute Christian Benteke emerged from the bench in the second half. He instantly brought presence to the attack. We knew that if we put the ball up there, it was going to stick. For the rest of the team, they know there will be an end product to all their build-up work, and that makes such a difference, especially to midfield players. What was interesting after the match was that Klopp mentioned he did not know how certain players react in different situations. That's something he is going to pick up over time. It also means it is a chance for some players to change perceptions. Brendan Rodgers always spoke about the character of the team. But for me, we have for far too long been a nice team with nice character. We don't really have any strong, dominating characters, and Klopp will want to change that. Klopp is the X factor, but I wouldn't want to cross him. An aspect I've picked up about Jurgen Klopp already is that, as well as being a good football manager, he is a great man manager. That's not something you can really tell from afar. But I'm seeing signs. He has that X factor. People like him, and he already has earned respect. It's not just about managing the team, it's about managing the squad. After the Bournemouth game last week, I saw an interview on LFC TV in which Klopp was talking about the win. He didn't just mention the youngsters who had come in and done well, nor did he just talk about Roberto Firmino or goalscorer Nathaniel Klein. Klopp mentioned every single player by name. And he even spoke encouragingly about Divock Origi, even though the Belgian hadn't had the best of games. Klopp has a way with words. He makes the players feel good about themselves. For me, that's really, really clever. The best thing for me is that there's no nonsense from him. He means what he says. And for that reason I wouldn't want to cross Klopp, because I can imagine he would properly blow his top if he lost his rag with you. It helps that he doesn't have any enemies in the dressing room. The only ones a manager tends to lose are the ones who are not playing. And at the moment, everyone in the first team squad feels as though they have a chance of playing. Look at Dejan Lovren, for example. He played in the win over Bournemouth and then got on for the last few moments against Chelsea. He'll feel involved again.